All right, so you know how sometimes in astrology you hear about these pairings and it's like fireworks? Like, are they really that compatible or is it all hype?
Oh, absolutely. Some of those descriptions can get a bit over the top.
Right. So we're diving into one that's got us intrigued, Virgo and Pisces. They seem like total opposites on the surface, but the excerpt we're looking at today really gets into this intense connection.
Yeah, and it really comes down to that whole opposites attract idea, but on a much deeper level. They occupy opposite spots on the zodiac wheel, so there's this natural pull between them.
And the excerpt even throws around the phrase emotional depths, which, like, whoa, okay, tell me more.
Right. It's like they each have something the other one needs to feel truly whole. Think about it, Virgos. They're practical, grounded, detail-oriented.
Hmm.
They love order.
Totally. Whereas Pisces are all up in their feels, dreamy, go with the flow.
Exactly. So when they come together, it's like each one encounters this missing piece of themselves. Virgos help ground those Piscean dreams, and Pisces helps Virgos loosen up and tap into their intuition.
So it's less about finding your other half and more like recognizing a reflection of something you may not even realize was missing.
100%. And this dynamic becomes super interesting when you consider how their Venuses interact, because, Venus is all about love and how we approach relationship.
Right. It shows what we value in a partner and how we express affection.
And for Virgo, their Venus is actually in its detriment in Pisces sign, which isn't necessarily bad, but it means Virgos might need to put in extra effort to feel loved and appreciated in this type of pairing.
So they're kind of stepping outside their comfort zone, which can be a good thing, right? For growth and all that.
Exactly. And that's what can make it so powerful because for Pisces, having a partner who encourages them to ground their dreams and bring some structure to their emotional world, that can be incredibly attractive.
Okay, so we've got this powerful attraction, this sense of completion, but the excerpt also mentions some potential trust issues, which, I mean, it makes sense, right? Virgo is all about logic, Pisces is all about intuition, bound to be some bumps in the road.
It's not so much about a lack of trust as it is about them having totally different approaches. Virgos, they're ruled by Mercury. They overthink everything. They need constant reassurance, crystal clear communication.
While a Pisces might be like, I felt it in my soul, it must be true.
You're not wrong.
Hmm.
And this is where things can get tricky, especially early on. Because if a Pisces tells even a little white lie to try to avoid conflict,
Virgo's going to spin out, analyzing every single detail, trying to figure out what's real and what's not. And the excerpt even mentioned that something like trying to spice things up with a little harmless fibbing could backfire massively.
oh, without a doubt, transparency, honesty, those are non-negotiables if a Virgo-Pisces pairing is going to work long term.
So honesty is like the bedrock. Got it. But the excerpt also made this point that once that trust is there, Virgo and Pisces can be like communication goals. How does that happen when they're coming from such different places?
And that's where being mutable signs actually becomes their superpower. They're both adaptable, not afraid to shift perspectives. So it's not this rigid my way or the highway energy.
Okay, makes sense.
Think of it like this Virgo. With their laser focus on details, they can help Pisces organize those big, swirling thoughts and feelings into something concrete, right?
So instead of just having a beautiful daydream, it's like, okay, here are the steps to actually make it real.
Precisely. And then Pisces, on the flip side, can help Virgo loosen their grip on logic just a little bit. Encourage them to tap into their intuition and emotions more.
Which honestly, we could all use a bit more of sometimes, right? Getting out of our heads and into our hearts. It's like that old saying, one teaches you how to love, the other teaches you how to live. Maybe not literally, but I kind of see it.
Totally. And that's where the opposites attract thing becomes this engine for growth instead of just constant conflict. They challenge each other to grow in ways they might never have thought of on their own.
Love that. Okay, so communication, once they get past the initial speed bumps, has the potential to be fire. But what about the physical side of things? Because the excerpt kind of alluded to sexual intimacy being its own journey for these two, which, okay, always a tricky subject, but
It is delicate, but it's about understanding their individual needs at a core level. And remember, we talked about this. Virgo needs mental connection, feeling safe and secure.
right, right.
So intimacy isn't just physical. It's about that deep understanding, that feeling of truly being seen by your partner.
Which probably explains why the excerpt mentioned Virgos often needing a slower, more sensual approach.
Yeah.
Building that trust and vulnerability, yeah.
100%. Now, Pisces, on the other hand, intimacy for them is about surrender, like fully merging with their partner on an emotional and even spiritual level.
Which circles back to those emotional depths the source was talking about earlier. I'm sensing a theme here.
Absolutely. But this can be where things get tricky because if a Pisces feels rushed or like those deep emotional needs aren't being met.
That freedom to surrender they crave just kind of evaporates, right?
Exactly. And this is where, believe it or not, a Virgo's desire to please can really work in their favor. Because if they get that, for Pisces, intimacy starts way before the bedroom door even closes.
Then we can get into that magical, almost fairy tale-like connection this pairing is known for.
Right. It's like,
Yeah.
I once worked with this Virgo-Pisces couple, and the way they described their bond, it literally gave me chills. They were like, it's like our souls recognize each other after lifetimes apart. Intense stuff.
Okay, you weren't kidding about the chills. And there's always a but, right? The source also warned against putting this pairing on a pedestal. Like, yes, the intensity is real, but so is the potential for heartbreak if things go south.
And that's where we have to talk about those shadow sides, the potential pitfalls.
Hmm.
Because we're talking about Virgo striving for perfection in the material world and Pisces seeking it in the spiritual realm. So naturally, those ideals can clash.
Right. It's like they're both chasing this idea of perfect, but from totally different planets. So how do they avoid trying to, like, remake each other? Because that never ends well.
It goes back to that acceptance thing we were talking about before.
Mhm.
Virgos can get so caught up in the shoulds of a relationship because they're all about practicality.
Oh, tell me about it. My best friend's a Virgo, and sometimes I just want to be like, dude, chill.
And then you've got Pisces who are so compassionate that they might try to fix a Virgo's anxieties or overthinking, not realizing that, hey, those are part of what make them unique.
It's like you wouldn't tell a sunflower to be more like a rose, right? They're both beautiful in their own way.
100%. It's about honoring each other's differences instead of seeing them as problems to solve. And that's where the real magic happens. Because when a Virgo learns to embrace a little bit of that Piscean flow, they tap into this whole world of creativity and emotional depth they didn't even know they had in them.
In Pisces, when they welcome some of that grounded Virgo energy, it's like their dreams can actually become reality, which is pretty amazing when you think about it. It's like they each have the missing puzzle piece the other one needs.
And isn't that what we're all searching for in a relationship? To feel seen, accepted, and supported for exactly who we are, not some idealized version. This pairing just reminds us that sometimes the most incredible love stories aren't about checking off boxes.
But about embracing the messiness and the complexity of two people choosing to grow together, because that's where the real growth happens, right? Not in spite of our differences, but because of them.
Beautifully said. It's about the journey, not the destination.
So, to our listeners, as we wrap up this deep dive into Virgo and Pisces, remember, this pairing reminds us that love isn't about finding the perfect match, but about embracing the beautiful chaos of two souls choosing to walk this crazy path called life side by side, you know? Whether you believe in soulmates or see relationships as mirrors reflecting back to us who we are, this exploration into the world of Virgo and Pisces shows us that love, in all its messy and perfect glory, can teach us so much about ourselves, about acceptance, and about the boundless possibilities that exist when two hearts choose to beat as one.